Sam had literally had a $10 billion account that he mislabeled with Alameda Research.
Mislabeled?
Yeah, he called it Fiat at FTX. But it was a $10 billion hole.
What do you mean by mislabeled?
Well, it was on a spreadsheet, Joe. So he was put it on a spreadsheet for their balance sheet, and he mislabeled the account Fiat at FTX. And so what prosecutors are now arguing is he knew, of course, what it was. He deliberately obscured what that was to hide it from people who were trying to take a look at his books. But it's just, that's what I mean by black box. You never know what games these guys are playing. Like they say, oh, here's sort of like the rough estimate of our balances. But oops, did I tell you about this $10 billion account? Like I forgot. It's so silly. Yeah. You find out like there were just no adults in that room, and like the few adults that there were like, you know, they had like a criminal lawyer. Well, anyway, I don't think he's actually been convicted of anything. I shouldn't say that. They had this guy, Dan Friedberg. Shady. This guy,
allegedly shady.
Dan Friedberg. No, he's definitely shady. I'll say that. This guy.
What was his? I remember, but what was his?
His whole thing was he did this thing with Ultimate Bet. So he was one of the lawyers. So there's this poker site called Ultimate Bet, and he got caught in this scandal where they had enabled this thing called God Mode on Ultimate Bet, where the CEO could see everybody's hands and play on the site, seeing everybody's hands. So he cleaned up on all his own customers, just basically taking their money. Like, oh, I know exactly when to fold. I know exactly when to bet. So he had God Mode enabled, and then somebody found out about this God Mode. And so the lawyer's like, how do we basically cover this up? Dan Friedberg's like, how do we, what do you want me to do? And he's like, hey, just make this problem go away. This is the CEO. Like, go blame it on somebody else. Go blame it on some third party that got access to our website. Say it was like a glitch or something. And so that is the experience of the lawyer that FTX then hires, is like being complicit on a leaked private call, trying to cover up this God Mode scam. That is his background. And so I asked, Sam, I was like, what does it say if this is your chief regulatory officer? This guy who enabled who helped cover up God Mode. And he's like, well, I don't want to comment on other, people, or it's just like.
Well, how does he skate on that? Like, how does a guy like that not wind up getting indicted?
I ask myself that every day. There's so many. Is
it a matter of time, or is it he's gotten away with it?
So many of these scams are like these issues of either regulators not having time, not having the resources, not having sort of like, it's maybe not big enough. They're good people, a lot of the people going after these guys, but it's like trying to catch everyone who's speeding. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like people get away with it. It's just there's too many people doing it. And you'll catch some people, but ultimately a lot of people will just basically skate by, even though by all rights they should have been, caught. In my view, what he did was criminal. That's why I started. But it hasn't been prosecuted or anything like that. But he's on a leaked private call. Everyone can go listen to it yourself. It's just this shocking thing. And I think that shows, like, if you're running a shady empire, like, who's better than a shady lawyer to try to help you cover it up, right?